Welcome back. In today's video, we're diving deep into the top 4 most valuable Jefferson nickel 5-cent coins from the United States. These nickels may look ordinary in your pocket change, but depending on their year, mint mark, and overall condition, some of them can be worth far more than just 5 cents. Collectors across the world seek out these special coins, and their values often rise at auctions, especially when preserved in good condition. Let's break them down one by one. Let's get started. First up, the Jefferson nickel. Specifically, we'll be focusing on the 1964 Jefferson nickel with the D mint mark, which was struck at the Denver Mint. While this coin is often found in circulation and even in damaged or dirty condition, collectors still show interest in it due to its unique history, its connection to the mid-20th century, and its place in American numismatic culture. We'll discuss its background, special features, how it performs in the auction market, and what you should know if you're thinking of collecting or selling one in less than perfect condition. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. It was designed by Felix Schlag, whose portrait of Thomas Jefferson remains one of the most recognizable designs in U.S. coinage. By 1964, the Jefferson nickel had already been circulating for over 25 years, and this particular year stands out for one key reason: massive minting. The U.S. Mint produced over 1.7 billion nickels in 1964, split between the Philadelphia and Denver mints. This was done to ease a nationwide coin shortage at the time. The D mint mark, found on the reverse of the coin to the right of Monticello, tells us it was produced in Denver. Despite the high mintage, the 1964 D nickel holds a special place in collections because it marks the end of an era. 1964 was the last year before the U.S. Mint removed mint marks from coins temporarily due to hoarding. The obverse of the 1964 Jefferson nickel features a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, with the inscriptions "In God We Trust" and "Liberty," followed by the date. On the reverse, we see Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia home, along with the words "E pluribus unum," United States of America, and the denomination 5 cents. The mint mark D is a key identifier for coins struck in Denver that year. What makes this coin stand out to collectors is not its rarity in pristine condition, because mint state examples are plentiful, but rather the role it played during a time of coin shortages and changes in U.S. coinage policy. Now let's talk about rarity and demand. Because over 1 billion of these coins were minted, the 1964 D Jefferson nickel is not considered rare in general terms. Most examples are still common today, and you can often find them in pocket change or bulk coin lots. However, condition is everything in coin collecting. A dirty, damaged, or heavily circulated 1964 D nickel has little numismatic value, as collectors usually prefer coins in uncirculated or near uncirculated condition. That said, some collectors still appreciate holding on to circulated examples for their historical connection or as a way to complete a date and mint set. Even in poor condition, there's a small audience for these coins, particularly among beginner collectors or those with a nostalgic attachment to coins from the 1960s. When it comes to actual value in the market, a 1964 D Jefferson nickel in dirty or damaged condition is generally worth only its face value of 5 cents. In bulk, dealers may pay a few cents above face for rolls, but individual circulated pieces are extremely common. However, the story changes when we look at higher grades. In mint state condition, the 1964 D nickel can bring in anywhere from $234,000 depending on strike and luster. Exceptional examples with sharp detail, clean surfaces, and high grades assigned by professional grading services can sell for much more. In fact, full step designations where Monticello steps on the reverse are fully visible are highly sought after, with some rare graded examples reaching hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction. But for dirty or worn coins, the reality is that their monetary value remains minimal, often capped at a few cents. If you happen to come across a 1964 D Jefferson nickel in poor condition, don't be discouraged. It can still serve as a great starting piece for beginner collectors or as a filler coin in a collection until a better example is found. When collecting Jefferson nickels, always pay attention to strike quality, the visibility of Monticello steps, and overall eye appeal. If you are serious about collecting for value, consider investing in uncirculated examples, preferably slabbed by grading companies. Dirty or damaged coins should never be cleaned, as cleaning often reduces their value further. Instead, keep them as is, and use them as educational tools or as part of a larger set to tell the story of America's mid-century coinage. In summary, the 1964D Jefferson nickel is not rare in dirty or circulated condition, and its market value usually hovers around face value. However, it remains an important piece of U.S. coinage history, representing a time of change, high mintages, and evolving collector interest. While damaged examples won't bring in big auction dollars, pristine ones with special characteristics can command impressive prices. Whether you're a beginner looking to start small or an experienced numismatist hunting for high-grade treasures, the 1964D Jefferson nickel offers something for everyone. Next up, the 1962 Jefferson nickel with the Denver mint mark, also known as the 1962D. While at first glance this coin might seem like just another worn-out nickel from the past century, there's actually a lot more to discover. Even in very bad condition, collectors and hobbyists often wonder whether it holds any rarity or market value in today's auction world. So, in this video, we'll explore its background, unique features, rarity, current market value in dollars, and what collectors should keep in mind if they come across one of these coins. The Jefferson nickel series began in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. It was designed by Felix Schlag, whose portrait of Thomas Jefferson became a cornerstone of U.S. coinage. The 1962D nickel came at a time when coin collecting was gaining popularity in America. That year, the Denver Mint produced an impressive number of Jefferson nickels, over 280 million coins. Because of this huge mintage, the 1962D is not considered rare when compared to other nickels. However, history shows us that condition plays a massive role in determining whether a coin is simply pocket change or a sought-after collectible. The 1962 Jefferson nickel features a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, with the word Liberty and the date inscribed to his right. If you look closely, you'll also find the small D mint mark, placed to the right of Monticello on the reverse side. The reverse depicts Jefferson's home, Monticello, along with the inscriptions E Pluribus Unum, United States of America, and 5 cents. At its core, this coin is made from a copper-nickel composition, weighing 5 grams with a diameter of 21.2 millimeters. These features remained fairly consistent in the Jefferson nickel series until design changes decades later. Now let's address the real question: is a 1962D nickel in very bad condition rare? The short answer is no. Because the Denver Mint produced so many of them, these coins in circulated, worn, or even damaged states are extremely common. In fact, most people can still stumble across one in loose change. Collectors usually seek examples in uncirculated condition, where sharp details and original luster remain. Badly worn or dirty coins from 1962D hold very little collector demand, as there are countless better preserved specimens readily available. Unless there's an error, such as a double die, off-center strike, or other minting mishap, the coin's poor condition significantly reduces its appeal to serious collectors. So, how much is a 1962D nickel in very bad condition worth today? Realistically, it's only worth its face value, 5 cents. Even at auction, a heavily worn or damaged coin from this year will not bring in more than pocket change. Dealers and collectors have little incentive to pay extra for a coin that is common and easily available in better grades. However, in higher conditions, the value increases. For example, an uncirculated 1962D nickel graded MS65 by a professional grading service can sell for $326,000, and rare high-grade examples with exceptional eye appeal can fetch even more. In contrast, your badly worn coin is unlikely to sell for more than a few cents, even in bulk lots. If you find yourself holding a 1962D nickel in very bad condition, don't be discouraged. While it may not hold much monetary value, it still has historical and educational worth. These coins can be excellent teaching tools for beginners in the hobby, giving them hands-on experience with US mint marks, designs, and the concept of condition grading. For collectors aiming to build a Jefferson nickel set, focus on coins with sharp details and strong luster, or consider seeking out error varieties from 1962D, which can carry much higher premiums. Always store your coins properly, avoid cleaning them, and if you suspect your coin might be a mint error, consult a reputable coin dealer or grading service for professional advice. In conclusion, the 1962 Jefferson nickel with the Denver D mint mark, especially in very bad condition, is far from rare and generally worth no more than its face value. Still, It represents a fascinating part of American coinage history and provides a window into the era of mass production at the US Mint. While collectors may not be clamoring for worn examples, uncirculated and error varieties remain desirable in the market. Next up, the 1964 Jefferson nickel with the Denver Mint mark, or D. Specifically, we'll be discussing this coin in very dirty or poor condition, looking at its rarity, its place in history, and of course, its auction market value in US dollars. Whether you're a beginner collector or just curious about what that old nickel in your pocket change might be worth, stick around because this video will cover everything you need to know. The Jefferson nickel was first introduced in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel, and it has remained a staple of US coinage ever since. The year 1964 was a particularly important one in American coinage history. With the rising demand for coins in circulation and the government's decision to remove silver from dimes, quarters, and half dollars, the Mint produced a massive number of nickels to help meet the shortage. In fact, the Denver Mint struck over 1.7 billion nickels in 1964 alone, making it one of the most widely produced years in the entire series. This high mintage is why most 1964 D nickels are considered common, especially in circulated and dirty condition. The 1964 D Jefferson nickel features the familiar design created by Felix Schlag. On the obverse, we see a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson with the inscriptions "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the year 1964. On the reverse, there's the image of Monticello, Jefferson's famous Virginia estate, along with the motto "E pluribus unum," the denomination 5 cents, and the country name United States of America. The Mint mark D, for Denver, appears to the right of Monticello on the reverse. While these design elements were standard, certain die varieties and errors from this year can make some 1964 D nickels more valuable than others. When it comes to rarity, it's important to separate clean, well-preserved coins from those in very dirty or damaged condition. A 1964 D Jefferson nickel in poor or dirty condition is extremely common because so many were minted and circulated heavily. Collectors usually look for high-grade examples with sharp details or rare errors, meaning that damaged or dirty coins rarely draw serious interest. However, for casual hobbyists or those just starting a collection, even a worn example can hold sentimental value and serve as an affordable entry point into numismatics. The real demand for this coin lies in pristine conditions or error varieties, but regular circulated pieces remain mostly of face value. So, how much is a 1964 D Jefferson nickel in dirty condition worth today? In the majority of cases, these coins are only worth their face value of 5 cents. Dealers and collectors generally won't pay extra for heavily circulated or dirty examples since they are so plentiful. However, in rare cases, if the coin is part of an error variety such as a double die, improper planchet, or unusual minting flaw, it could sell for several dollars, and in some auctions, even up to hundreds. But it's crucial to note that a standard, dirty 1964 D nickel without any errors is not considered rare and won't bring more than its basic value. If you're interested in collecting Jefferson nickels, here are a few tips. First, don't be discouraged if you find a 1964 D nickel in poor condition. It's still a piece of history and a good starting point. But if you're aiming for real value, focus on finding coins in higher grades or those with unique errors. Always examine coins carefully under good lighting or with a magnifying glass to spot details that could increase their worth. It's also a good idea to store coins properly, even the common ones, to prevent further damage. Over time, you can build a more valuable collection by upgrading to better quality coins. In conclusion, while the 1964 D Jefferson nickel in dirty condition is not rare and typically holds only its face value, it still represents an important piece of mid-20th century US coinage history. For most collectors, the true value lies in mint-state examples or rare errors, but for beginners, even a worn piece can be a gateway into the fascinating world of coin collecting. Next up, the 1969 Jefferson nickel with the Denver D mint mark. While at first glance this coin might look like just another nickel from pocket change, it holds a unique place in numismatic history. In this video, we'll explore its history, its design, its rarity, and most importantly, its market value, even in well-worn, circulated condition. Whether you're a beginner collector or a seasoned numismatist, you'll learn why this particular nickel still captures interest in auctions and collector markets today. The Jefferson nickel series began in 1938, replacing the beloved Buffalo nickel. It was designed by Felix Schlag, whose portrait of Thomas Jefferson was chosen in a public competition. The 1969 Jefferson nickel, specifically those struck at the Denver Mint, came during a time when the U.S. Mint was producing coins in high numbers to meet the booming demand of the American economy. The Denver Mint struck over 202 million nickels that year, making it one of the more common dates in the series at first glance. However, despite such large production, circulation wear, handling, and the absence of silver in these nickels mean that high-quality examples are much harder to come by today. The obverse of the 1969 D Jefferson nickel features a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, with the inscriptions "In God We Trust" and "Liberty" alongside the date. On the reverse, we see the famous Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia estate, with the words "E pluribus unum, Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America." The mint mark D, indicating the Denver Mint, is located on the reverse to the right of Monticello. While the design is standard for Jefferson nickels of this era, the 1969 D is notable for the fact that examples in pristine condition are far scarcer than many collectors realize. Strike weakness was common, especially on the steps of Monticello, which makes fully struck versions with clear steps very desirable. Now, when we talk about rarity, it's important to separate mint state coins from those that circulated widely. A 1969 D nickel in circulation condition, the kind you're likely to find in old change jars or inherited collections, is generally common. Millions were used in everyday transactions, leading to heavy wear. However, even circulated examples have their place among collectors who are working on filling date and mint mark sets. While these coins are not considered rare in worn condition, demand exists because they are part of the broader Jefferson nickel series. For collectors who want every year and mint, the 1969 D is a must-have, regardless of grade. Coins with damage, corrosion, or discoloration typically trade only for their face value, but lightly circulated pieces with visible detail can attract small premiums from hobbyists. Oh, what is a 1969 D Jefferson nickel worth today? In circulated grades, such as very fine or extremely fine, most coins will trade for around 5 to 25 cents, just a modest premium above face value. These values reflect their availability and the fact that so many were minted. However, the story changes dramatically in higher grades. Mint state examples, especially those with sharp strikes and the coveted full steps designation, can fetch much higher prices. At auction, high-quality 1969 D nickels with full steps have sold for hundreds, and in some cases even thousands of dollars. The record prices highlight just how important condition is in determining the true market value of this coin. For everyday circulated examples, however, the value is usually modest, making them affordable entry points for new collectors. If you're considering adding a 1969 D Jefferson nickel to your collection, here are a few tips. First, examine the coin carefully for details on Monticello steps. The more visible and complete they are, the higher the value. Second, check for unusual errors or varieties, such as off-center strikes or die cracks, which can add collector interest and boost market value. Third, while circulated examples are easy to find, it may be worth investing in higher-grade certified coins if your budget allows, as those are the ones with significant auction potential. Finally, remember that proper storage such as using coin flips or albums helps preserve your coin's condition and long-term value. The 1969 D Jefferson nickel might not be the rarest or most valuable coin you'll encounter, but it still tells an important story about American coinage during the late 1960s. While circulation examples are common and generally worth only a small premium over face value, the real treasure lies in high-grade mint state coins, especially those with full steps, which can bring hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction. For collectors, this nickel is both accessible and rewarding. It's affordable in worn condition, yet challenging to track down in pristine form. Whether you're building a complete set or hunting for that elusive gem, the 1969 D Jefferson nickel remains a fascinating piece of U.S. numismatic history. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights into the world of coins and collectibles.